Hold on. Now? Hello?
Is it a different link, maybe?
Can you see me now?
I don't see you on YouTube, no.
Wait a minute. I see myself now.
Okay, and
Can
you're
you see me
talking?
now, people? Okay, can somebody type something if you see me? How many fingers am I holding up?
Your fingers
Uh,
are above your head so they can't see them.
what's wrong?
There you go.
How many fingers am I holding up? Just like say something.
Okay, I see you. I see you on YouTube. Yeah, there was
And
some
I'm holding
weird
up three
lag.
fingers? Okay,
Yep,
perfect. Sorry about that.
yep. I see you now. All
Okay,
right.
so
Okay, so now we start.
now we start. And we lost about 5 viewers the minute I got online. And I'm like, oh my God. People prefer to watch now streaming signs over me. And so okay, so welcome to another episode of Sundays with Lenin. This episode will be a little special because we have a lot going on, and so we won't be reading a Lenin piece today, but we will be using Lenin's methods of analysis to understand the U.S. foreign policy, capitalists, and their disgusting just the disgusting things that the bourgeoisie legal capitalist press does. So last week, I believe it was Sunday, but I could be totally wrong, and it could have been 2 weeks ago. I can't remember actually off the top of my head. But was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I don't know. But what happened was that uh, so this guy named Roman Protasevich was flying from Athens to Vilnius, Lithuania, and they kind of had to go over Belarusian airspace. Well, so the Belarusian government asked the pilot to land, and I have not been able to independently confirm that there was a fighter jet allegedly intercepting them. But I have, but according to Rachel Maddow, there's allegedly one. But like I said, I will check that later because I don't even care enough to check it, but I will. So but anyways, they told him to land, and then they arrested him, and they had a very good reason for arresting him. He was a bleeping bleepity bleep. Uh, yeah. So he was a he. So I've actually went onto the Azov Battalion's website VK page, and yeah, like there are pictures of him actually training, fighting, holding a machine gun with the Azov Battalion, which is a completely right wing fascist militia in Ukraine. So on top of that, he's done like so many like really weird shady stuff. So the thing is that the Western press, of course, we all know what's going on. And one of the most irritating things of the Western press is, of course, the fact that they don't seem to understand how to even not trust every single dumb thing that the national security state tells them. So they've been like actively so the funniest one is I'll show this to you maybe later, but with Maddow where she talks about the oh my god January 6th, and then she's like, and she's talking denouncing all the white right wingers or whatever, and then suddenly she goes up to this like pro democracy activist, and so right now we're going to get started with this. So but the thing about it is that the country that is allegedly supporting Roman Protasevich has some fascism problems, to say the least. And we have a very special guest, two special guests. The first one I believe is Stanislav Tomas. He was a human rights lawyer in Lithuania, and he tore down a Nazi plaque, and he's basically can't go back to his country. He's in exile. He's been tortured. He's been everything that's like they actually claim Lukashenko did. He has it experienced. And Miguel Puertas, he is a Spanish professor he was a Spanish professor at the University of Vilnius, but he got forced and deported for basically saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't have statues of total Nazis and the SS. And so we have interviews with both of them so you can kind of learn what happened. But first, we'll watch this really interesting CNN clip. where they kind of are covering the Belarus event, but then what on earth are they not telling you?
This is why the Belarusian authorities see this dissident journalist as such a threat. A social media channel founded by Roman Protasevich, who's just 26, was instrumental in organising these mass protests against flawed presidential elections last year. And, of course, in exposing the brutal tactics used by Belarusian police to crack down. Tactics his father, who spoke to CNN from exile in Poland, says he fears will now be used on his son.
We are very worried as we expect torture and physical abuse, although we hope that that won't happen. But knowing the KGB methods, we hope that he will be strong enough and have enough willpower to endure all that awaits him.
But for the first time since his extraordinary arrest at the weekend, the dissident journalist and campaigner has appeared from Belarusian jail on Telegram. Critics say he seemed under pressure. I'm now in jail number 1 in the city of Minsk. I can declare that I have no health problems, including with the heart or any other organs, he says. Now I will continue to cooperate with the investigation, and I am confessing to organising mass riots in Minsk. That confession, say critics, is likely to have been made under duress.
Now is the Lithuanian Foreign Minister, Gabrielius Landsbergis. Mr. Foreign Minister, thank you so much. We really appreciate you having us on. First and foremost, let me get your response to what appears to be a brazen act by the Belarusian leader, Lukashenko, in bringing down this EU flight and in detaining this journalist. What is your reaction?
Well, we call it a state-sponsored act of terrorism, which was not directed at any country or any entity. We say that it's an international incident because there were at least 12 European countries represented and six more countries from non-European Union and US as well. Obviously, it was the reason was to take one person prisoner, but that meant that for more than 6 hours, 123 people and 4 children were kept hostage in the airport of Minsk.
And this really is an unprecedented act. And let me ask a bit about the reporter, Roman Protasevich himself. He fled Belarus in 2019, has been living in Lithuania as a political exile. What guarantees or what protections does he have in your country as a political exile?
Well, we haven't had him on our radar, so to say, in Lithuanian government, because it appears that he never applied for a shelter, for political shelter in Lithuania. He had a working visa. And obviously, Belarusian and maybe Russian intelligence officers had following him for quite a while. And obviously, all of this was an organized operation.
Okay. So if I were actually not trying to sorry, are we on?
Yeah, you are on.
Okay. If I were not trying to mislead people, I might give some context. Like, this guy, Gabriel Landsbergis, he's the he's not. Is he the foreign minister? Yeah, he's the foreign minister of Lithuania. His grandfather was the first president of the post-Soviet Lithuania, and his great-grandfather was an architect, according to Wikipedia. They just won't tell you what he was the architect of. And what he was the architect of was the mass genocide in Lithuania. So basically, this guy's entire, and Lithuania, so they make, in America, they always talk about how when a country they don't like, they're like, oh my God, even Belarus, they're like, Lukashenko's entire family is there and doing something nefarious that we can't ever tell what they are doing that's allegedly nefarious, other than being a brutal dictator who's clearly not brutal enough to these fascists. But we never hear about this. But what happens when somebody's free speech is actually curtailed? Well, what happens when somebody's free speech is actually curtailed is that you don't hear about it, and they don't get to be on Rachel Maddow. And the thing about it is that what's really shocking is that the CNN, not shocking because we know what the bourgeoisie CNN press bullshit BS they do. They get the most uncurious people, and they just kind of who don't really care about anything, just to kind of like stenograph utter crap. So I feel like these are important things, like, hey, are you arresting any members of the parliament for saying that maybe we shouldn't like have Nazi statues and trying to put them in the mental hospital? Are there Jewish lawyers that you force-fed pork? Like, just different things like that. And these are all out in the public, but CNN doesn't do that. So we kind of want to put this into context. And of course, in the West, you're going to get accused of doing whataboutism. And anytime somebody accuses you of doing whataboutism, you should just say this: what about I punch you in the face? Not that I'm really going to punch anyone in the face. I'm not that strong to punch. I thought it was a better joke in my imagination. It didn't land. Anyways, yeah, but the thing is that you're seeing how the Western press treats one thing, which is much more horrific, which is cracking down on not Nazis, versus how they treat Nazis. And these countries are right next to each other. They're both from the former Soviet bloc. Like, it's a good comparison to just kind of do some critical analysis, and maybe we should be more suspicious next time the West is like all up in arms about pro-democracy protesters and a brutal dictator who oppresses his own people. And yet it's like, yeah, every state oppresses one class. We just kind of want that class not to be poor people. We want it to be like fascists and Nazis and corporations. But so we first will listen to an interview with Spanish professor Miguel Puertas, who was in Vilnius, Lithuania, teaching for about 10 years. And all he said was, maybe we should not kind of hold off on those Nazi statues. And boom, he was arrested, deported, and fired from his job. And in fact, the person they replaced him doesn't even speak Spanish. And it's like, it doesn't even make sense. And so let's watch that so we can kind of learn the context, because we shouldn't it seems like so many people in America can't actually like figure out things like, what did the fascist flag of Belarus look like? What did the Belarusian SS have? Why is this Baltic German guy the foreign? Yeah. Oh, by the way, I totally forgot about that. Yeah. His great grandfather was allegedly a Baltic German, which is exactly what it sounds like. Yeah, you should definitely be suspicious, because long story short, but Miguel will talk about the Baltic German issue too. So with that, let's begin our really good interview. And this is very important to people to kind of see the, I guess, what Parenti would call the gangster nature of their state. So invite your friends, tell them that they need to park here and watch this ASAP. And with that, we'll show you the our first interview with Miguel, and then our second interview with Stanislav Tomas. And with regards to the second interview, there are some trigger warnings, so be careful and your discretion advised. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sundays with Lenin. Today, we have two very special guests. So we always hear about how these authoritarian regimes end up crushing pro-democracy dissidents. But of course, there is a politics to it, in that it's always, even New York Times tends to highlight only one side of this suppression of free speech. because when the country is an ally, on the other hand, we don't hear about it. And today we are interviewing Professor Miguel Puertas, who was a professor in Lithuania, who was arrested, tortured, and deported for basically saying maybe we shouldn't glorify former collaborators. So welcome and thank you so much. We're very glad to have you here. How are you doing today?
Hello. Well, today, here I am enjoying the summertime. No, I mean it's already summertime here.
So, so you're a professor of Spanish, and you went to Lithuania. Like, what year did you go to Lithuania, and what did you teach there?
Well, I was living in Lithuania for 10 years, no, from 2004 or something like this, to 2004 till 2015, no? And, well, actually, I never have any problem there in Lithuania till 2013, no? In 2013, I was teaching, in Lithuania, I was, let's say, teaching several topics, no? So, because I was working in college and also in some universities there, no? And well, I was teaching, I don't know, like a business topics, no? Like marketing, or sometimes even like this kind of things, no? I mean, marketing, business economics, finance a bit, no? And also I started to also teach Spanish, no? Because, well, it's quite popular there. Actually, Spanish is quite popular everywhere, no? And then I found also
language. I mean, there's so many countries that speak Spanish.
Language and so on. Well, that's it. And then the thing, my life in Lithuania was pretty easy because I was not involved in politics. No? Myself, I always have been a left-wing person, no? Leftist, no? A leftist here in Spain. But in Lithuania, I was just simply working there, enjoying life, no? Let's say, no. Till 2015, when everything started in Ukraine, no, with the Maidan. It's kind of not really a revolution. It's more like a kind of coup against President Yanukovych. In 2013, and all the Lithuanian media started to a campaign supporting, no, the Maidan. And also against Russia, no? Against Russia. I dislike it very much all the time. This kind of Russophobia that is in Baltic states.
So basically, I just want to get this clear. So around the time with the Maidan coup in 2014, you started to be involved, and so.
It means that I started to write a post, writing my thoughts, my point of view on the Maidan against the propaganda of the media. I mean, Lithuanian media, no? It was really propaganda all the time, no? And then I started writing on Facebook my opinion on the issue, no? And also, I was very angry, with the support of the government, against this coup. No? I mean, they were supporting the coup, and also they were also later supporting the bombing, the bombing in the Donbas. No? I mean, the campaign of anti-terrorist operation in the Donbas, killing civilians, and also the Lithuanian government were sending also. Ammunition, money, and volunteers to kill people. In Eastern Ukraine. You know what happened? What happened? Let me tell me something about. It's like also the government sent also like a military to the universities and the high school. I was working also in a high school, and the military came, to teach students how to fight against little green men. No, the little green men were the like a network of little green men. They say that in Lithuania we're also little green men. I mean, we're like militia men, able to take the power. They thought that. I mean, Lithuania say that it was a Russian network inside the country, and then they started to hunt, looking for little green men. The little green men didn't exist. They were the opposition. I mean, Lithuanians.
Lithuanians?
Yeah. Lithuanians. I mean, the Grybauskaitė was the former president of Lithuania, said that it was a network of little green men inside the country. And then
inside the country of Ukraine or inside of Lithuania?
Operation. No, inside Lithuania. And that they all the time were saying Russia Pole means like the Russians are coming, the Russians are going to invade Lithuania.
So they're saying that there are Lithuanian people who are agents of Russia? Wait, hold on. So the government was saying that there were Lithuanian men who were like secret agents of Russia there to undermine the country or something. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Exactly. Yeah. This was it was just pure propaganda 24 hours. The television all the time with this kind of propaganda, the Lithuanians showing that they are very patriotic and they are very, very strong men. And all of them are pussies. I mean, all of them, believe me. I mean, all the people are on the top of the, I know many of them, even personally, some of them, because even I have one minister right now that she was my student. I mean, I know her personally. And then the thing is that they started a campaign. I started to write. I got a lot of threats from trolls, Lithuanian trolls. I mean, people that were working for the government. They created a network of trolls in Lithuania, and they were hunting, and not only hunting. I mean, it's like harassing political dissenters. I mean, Lithuanians, mostly Lithuanian. I mean, yes, people like Algirdas Paleckis, that is a Lithuanian, the leader of a small organization called Frontas. Frontas is like a socialist organization.
Okay,
semi-banned.
He's the one who. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, yeah. So what happened to him is that he was arrested for allegedly denying Soviet aggression, but the thing is that the Soviet aggression never happened. Mm-hmm. So he was arrested and then he was spent at least 4 years in prison without trial.
Yeah. Basically, I wanted to tell you how they are working. They are working this way. They have the full control of the media in Lithuania. The government has also a network of trolls working for the government, and also they are like they have the BSD. The BSD is like a KGB, the Lithuanian KGB. You have to know Lithuania. I mean, Lithuania is not a democratic country. It's a regime. It's not even a political. I mean, how to say? It's a regime that is. On the top is a family. 2 or 3 families are controlling all the.
I did not know that.
Politics, also the economy. 3 families, 3 or 4 families, no more. 3-4 oligarchic families. One of them is the most important of them is the clan of Landsbergis, Vytautas Landsbergis clan.
How do you spell his name?
That has the control.
Hold on. How do you spell his name again?
Vytautas Landsbergis. Yeah. Landsbergis, you can Google. This man is a kind of mafia guy. That he is the father of the.
Okay.
Is the father of the.
One quick question. So are you talking about? So it seems like there's there's a Landsbergis family, and they run the Homeland Union Party. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Correct.
Okay.
And not only that,
and so hold on. The Homeland Union was founded in about 1993, since Lithuania almost became independent. And so while they claim that Lithuania is a democracy, there's a lot of like sneaky things done to like undermine actual opposition, correct?
Look, in Lithuania, there is not a democracy. There is not. Okay, there is a kind of oligarchic system. Okay, that is controlling all the economy, politics, and the media. Okay, and this oligarchic system is 4 or 5 families that are controlling everything, and sometimes they are using illegal methods like killing people. Okay. I don't have any problem. Everybody knows that in Lithuania. Everybody knows that some political dissenters have disappeared. Okay.
Oh my!
They disappeared.
Wow.
Yeah. Or they are killed. And even myself. That look, I am from Spain. I'm a teacher. You know, I was arrested. I was threatened. Okay. And I had to flee. I had to flee from Lithuania. I was forced to flee. I left everything. I left everything.
So basically, it says that...
And not only me, there is a lot of Lithuanians as well out of Lithuania. They cannot come back to their country, okay, to their own country, because they are in a blacklist of the oligarchy. The oligarchy have a blacklist of people that they cannot come back to Lithuania because they will be jailed, or some of them even can be killed like this. Not killed, suicided.
Hold on 1 second. It says that... hold on. So... I heard that in Kaunas, Lithuania, you were teaching a song called, like a children's song to help people learn, three sardines and one cat. And for some odd reason...
exactly.
So can you tell us about what happened here and how that led you to being persecuted?
Well, basically, in Lithuania, I didn't have any problem till 2013 when I started to write. I was a blogger writing against the foreign policy of Lithuania. I was against the Maidan myself, against the coup in Ukraine, against sending ammunition, money, and volunteers to kill people in other countries.
They're total Nazis too.
And then I was threatened by the BSD, the KGB. I mean, the KGB out there. And then they wrote, they contacted my university and they told them they told me, look, or you stop writing on Facebook your opinion about the Ukrainian conflict. If not, you will have to leave Lithuania. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So we're going to put this up later. We're going to block out the student's name. Okay. So after you wrote the blog, the Lithuanian state security contacted your boss, right?
It happened years ago. I had to flee. I had to leave Lithuania. I left Lithuania in 2016. Okay?
I know, but can you talk about how they arrested you? Oh, wait, can you talk about how they arrested you?
No, sorry. Yeah. I was arrested, but this is other episode. You know what happened? That I left Lithuania in 2016. Okay, and later I moved to Donetsk People's Republic, this so-called separatist region in the eastern Ukraine. Okay, and I was there living 2 years, working in the Donetsk National Technical University, teaching the students. There is a war there, a civil war. Okay. 5 million people are living there, and they are getting bombs. They are bombed all the days. They are out of people that have been killed. 1 million people had to leave the region, this area. It's a disaster. There's a civil war. The media, Western media, practically they don't say anything. And when they say something, it's not true. I mean, it's fake news. Totally fake. There is in the Donbas, it was a uprising against the regime, the regime imposed by the Maidan. Okay, the Maidan, it was, remember, this coup against Yanukovych, supported by Obama, the former Obama administration.
We actually have an entire episode on that, so go ahead. We'll put a link down.
So perfectly. I am one of the actors there here. Let's say one Spanish guy that I moved to Donetsk. I was there 2 years, reporting also with my like a blogger, writing about what about my life, about all the history. I saw with my eyes the situation there. I saw with my eyes. I experienced even the war. I was a teacher. I never have taken any weapon or something like this because I don't like weapons. I mean, I am against weapons, against war. I am so high anti-militarist person. And later I moved to to Spain. I came back to Spain. I was already a teacher here in Spain because, let's say, it was very easy to find a job here. I moved. I am working now in a Polytechnic Institute here in Barcelona. I mean, it's a government state, how to say, go in Spanish, in English. It's a public Polytechnic Institute. I have a lot of students. My life is okay, let's say. I came back because, I mean, how to say, I am a trained teacher, let's say, with a lot of experience and so on. And therefore, well, I arrived here in 2018. I left Donetsk. I was tired because the war there, I don't like war, you understand? It was, for me, I was fed up. I had to leave, and then, well, last year, the situation with the coronavirus, the COVID, here in Barcelona was very, very, very difficult living here, in summertime. When the lectures ended, the academic year finished. Well, I decided to take my back and, well, okay, Miguel, just leave Barcelona, Spain, because I knew that in Baltic states and also in Sweden, the situation was much better than here in Spain. And well, I moved. I went to Latvia, Riga. It was wonderful because Riga is a wonderful city. They didn't have, in that time, they didn't have masks. They didn't have to wear masks in Latvia or Estonia. Or Estonia. That really. You can imagine in Barcelona we are wearing masks. And in Latvia was totally free. I knew. This is why I decided to move to Latvia. I spending there like 2 months or something like this in summertime last year. But Latvia and Lithuania are beside, our countries are beside, neighbors. And then one of my friends contacted me, said, Miguel, just come here, to Kaunas, your former city, and well, I said, okay, I didn't know that I was included in a blacklist. Just simply, I took my back.
Wait, you were included in a blacklist inside of Latvia? A different country?
Blacklist. There is a blacklist there in Lithuania.
In Lithuania or Latvia?
I didn't know that it was. No, Lithuania.
Oh, sorry, so Lithuania.
I was in Latvia. I went to Latvia, but one of my friends that he's Lithuanian, he contacted me and he saw in Facebook that I was in Latvia. And he told me, oh, Miguel, you are in Latvia. Why you are not coming to visit us? I go, okay, I will go. I took my trips and I went to Lithuania. Because, the countries are beside, are small countries. I mean, you take a bus and in 3 hours you are in Lithuania. How you think? The Baltics still are very small countries, okay? And they are like, it's very easy to take one, crossing the all Baltic state with a bus. I took the bus and I went to Vilnius and later to Kaunas and I met people of my friends, some friends and also members of the opposition, of the Socialist Party, this Frontas. Well, I was there, drinking some beer, speaking with them. They were telling me all the things and so on. I met Giedrius Grabauskas, that is the new leader of the Frontas Party. He told me about Paleskis. Paleski, who was arrested, he's the real interesting character. He's a very important person there. He was arrested. Not arrested, abducted by a sort of militia, underground militia, working for the government. It's so very well. It's very well. It's a country where there is militia, nationalist militia.
Nationalist militia. You mean they're support Hitler and stuff, right?
They are not really. The people with weapons that they are not members of the government. I mean, they are not police. Are a militia, nationalist militia. See, in Lithuania, with weapons, they are allowed to have weapons, okay? It's called the Association of Riflemen, of Lithuanian Riflemen.
Oh, wow, I did not know that. Okay.
I will send you, if you want, a link.
Please
but
do.
This organization was banned for many years, but again, basically, it's a militia of ultranationalist guys. They are not members of the state apparatus. They are not, it's an association, okay? But they have right to have weapons. And those guys, are involved in many things there, no? And then basically they abducted Paleskis. He disappeared for near 1 year, more than 1 year. Nobody knew. Where is Palesky? Where is the nobody knew if he was alive or not. You know, no habeas corpus, no any judge, nobody had the possibility to say nothing there. The people, where is Palesky? It's incredible. And Palesky appeared 10 months later. He was very, how can I say in English, slim. I mean, because they were not providing food to Paleskis or water or nothing. And he was really like a because he was quite a strong man, quite a strong man, and he appeared like a beggar with beer, without well, partially hunger, you know, how in English. He had a problem. I mean, they didn't provide him with food, you know, for weeks. You know? Yeah. And then, now he's under house arrest, okay? And the prosecutor asked to send him to jail, to prison for 9 years, okay? He is a politician.
Wait, hold on. This is the crime of denying Soviet aggression or something. Right? Free speech.
Look, this is not a crime. Okay? I mean, what they say that is a crime. I don't mind. They want to put him in a jail just because the clan, the Landsbergis clan. Yes, basically, you know, Paleskis accused Vytautas Landsbergis of being behind the snipers that killed Lithuanians in times of Soviet Union. You know, it was do you know the events of the tower of the television tower in Vilnius?
No, I don't. It sounds a lot like Maidan. Can you explain? Can you talk about it quickly?
Yeah, it's a sort of Maidan. It's a sort of Maidan that, you know, during the process of independence of Lithuania, okay, in January, it was in January, yes, in January 2000, in January 1990, it was a riots and a huge demonstration in front of the television, the tower television of Vilnius. Very beautiful tower television. It's very huge, no? And some people shoot and kill protesters. Around 15 protesters were killed. And you know, the Lithuanians say that it was Gorbachev and the Soviet Union, the KGB, killing them. No? But Palesky said that according to the information, and everybody knows, and many people in Lithuania knows, that it happened like in the Maidan. It means
it sounds exactly like Maidan, actually, literally exactly like Maidan.
Member of the opposition, it means the Sayudis was the movement for pro-independence movement. They were involved in the shootings. And the snipers were working for them. You understand me? It means
I know, I understand that. Because it sounds exactly, literally sounds like Maidan.
Say that, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, a sort of Maidan. It is the same technique. The same
technique, exactly.
I mean, you have some. It's the same technique. It's like following some kind of
manual
training or something like this, because they are working. Yeah, I mean, they are working the same. They did the same in also, I think, in Georgia or in other Eastern country.
Which country?
The opposition. I mean, member of the opposition. Yeah, I think in Georgia. Georgia happened something similar. You know, some snipers were shooting against them. Yeah.
Okay.
Georgia is in times of the revolution. Orange. It's not orange revolution. The rose revolution. The revolution
it was
roses,
another color revolution. Okay, I got it.
It's one color revolution, and in Lithuania happened in 1990. You know, in times of the independence of Lithuania, it was also a shooting there. No, Palesky was speaking about that, no? In one article, and he also somehow in a conference also he said that, no, and in Lithuania, he was considered considered that this is you cannot question the truth, the only truth. The truth is. Yeah,
and then he got arrested.
And it's the government truth. If you are against the truth, promoted by the government and the media, the official media, it means that you are enemy of Lithuania.
Wow.
Can you imagine? I mean, you criticize a member of the ruling oligarchy. Because the ruling oligarchy, then you are enemy of Lithuania. Then you are a badnik. You are working for the Russians. You understand?
Oh my!
Or you are a communist. That's even worse. Yeah. And they are mixing everything. No. But look, those guys are ridiculous. I know so many of those politicians or those people are on the top of the of the media. People are working in the media, in the Lithuanian media, and also in the administration. Those guys are idiots, are retarded. I want that. I usually use this word, retarded. People without even proper education. You understand me? And they are like a mafia guys. There are a lot of mafia guys there, but they are showing they want to show they are democratic and so on. Democratic or what? You look what you are doing. Look what you are doing. You are crashing the political opposition. You are jailing the political opposition. You have Lithuania. They had to flee. They had to flee from Lithuania. Look, like the leader of the current right now, the new leader of the Socialist Front, Giedrius Grabauskas, that I had a meeting with him last year in Kaunas, and he showed me the documents, a lot of documents. The Lithuanian state, the Lithuanian government want to put him in a mental how to say, mental hospital, because he's mad. He's a madman. Why? Because he's a socialist.
So basically, it sounds like they're also cracking down on opposition.
It's amazing. They are doing exactly the same like in times of Stalin. You understand? Putting the people, the dissenters in hospitals, in mental hospitals.
Well, the thing about it is that the main difference is that the dissenters here are not. The West doesn't care because the dissenters are not serving the West's agenda. They're against the West's agenda. So
yeah. Of course. The funny thing I want to tell you that the funny thing of this socialist frontas, I know I am a member of this organization, and I know many of them. Those guys are like we can say that they are like a social democrats. I mean,
they're okay. So it's kind of like in America. So and
some Marxists and social democrats, they against NATO. All of us, we are against NATO. This is the problem.
Yeah, we should be, because we all know about NATO's history and the danger. NATO has this article called Article 4, which means if any one member of NATO is attacked, then all of them. So there is a very good chance that it can spark a world war like that. It's very dangerous.
Yeah, well, they have in Lithuania. They have a secret. The CIA has secret jail for torturing people. Yeah. The CIA
I did not know that.
in buildings. It was Amnesty International. There's a report written by Amnesty International that they speak about the secret jails of CIA, in Eastern Europe, and they have one in Vilnius, and also they have also a huge military base, NATO in Šiauliai. It's the biggest NATO base in the area, in this area. Pay attention that Lithuania is just beside Kaliningrad. There is a oblast,
in Russia.
Russian oblast.
Yeah, Kaliningrad.
Yeah, just beside. And this is a hot spot. This is really a hot spot. And right now on the top of Lithuania, there are warmongers, people that love war. They are looking for a war.
Why? Are they going to profit from the war? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, they are even more aggressive than probably the in the USA. I mean, they're
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, really, they want war already. They're looking for war, and they are lobbying. They are lobbyists, lobbying together with the government of Ukraine. Also, they are lobbyists. lobbying in the United States. I mean, yes, because you know the lobby, no, the lobby of Ukrainians, nationalist Ukrainians in Canada and also in the
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh no, a lobby of Ukrainian. Yes, I know. We were doing an episode on that with the Victims of Communism Memorial.
There is a lot of Ukrainians that are working for
yes,
war.
I know about the Ukrainians, but I'm sorry, I got it confused. I thought you were talking about the Lithuanians. Okay, so now
and Lithuanians as well. The Lithuanians as well. They have but of course, Lithuania they are smaller. No, there are many. I mean, there are not so many Lithuanians in the world. But anyway, Lithuania as a state, the current government, I mean, is looking for a war. They are preparing for. They are looking for, a kind of revenge against Russia.
Revenge for what?
Exactly. This is, and they're funny, because they have a very interesting history. I mean, I have read the Lithuanian official history. It's amazing. It's a kind of fairy tale. I mean, they've been
putting up a lot of memorials for Nazis, right?
Yeah. I tell you, I mean, the Lithuanians, they don't know anything about history. I mean, they are living in a kind of parallel war where Lithuanians are the center of they are like heroes fighting against Russians, and that's it, no? It's fascinating, because the problem is that there is indoctrination. Lithuanian state right now, they are like 15 years independent, 15 years of propaganda. I mean, and the young generation, the young generation have been indoctrinated in Russophobia, in nationalism, ultranationalism, okay? And they have a new generation that they only know that. I mean, they only know that Russophobia, propaganda, mythology, they created even a past that didn't exist. They are telling something crazy about one day you wonder. I had to send you some tales, some history books, because that's how they invented the history. It happened not only in Lithuania, also in many Eastern European countries that they are new countries that were created recently, without not a proper history,
most of them were part of the empire. There was three big empires: the German Empire, the Austria-Hungary Empire, and the Russian Empire.
They were the Russian Empire, the Austrian Empire, and also the German Empire, and they were part of that, And I mean, actually, they didn't exist as a nation because the nation is the history.
It was part of Tsarist Russia.
Let's skip that part, because it's not really interesting. I mean, right now, the most interesting thing here, I am worried about the situation of many Lithuanians that they are. They cannot come back to their own country. You understand me?
Yep.
They are blacklisted, okay, and they are living in the exile. And also, I am asking here right now for freedom of Paleckis, Algirdas Paleckis, that he can go to jail now just for speaking. I mean, he's a criminal just because he said something that is not correct.
Wow.
9 years. 9 years, okay? And those guys are telling or speaking bullshit about this dissenter, this Belarusian blogger. In Lithuania, say, we are for freedom of speech. Lukashenko is a criminal, is a dictator, is a blah, blah, blah.
No, he's not. We're talking about, you're talking about Roman Portas. Yeah, we have actually video that we're going to we actually have in the program, we have actually showed that video. So they know about him, but you're right. But so it was Lithuania who's allegedly demanding his quote unquote freedom, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was fascinating. When I went to Lithuania this summer, already was the problem with Lukashenko, and they hosted this Svetlana Nobody. Svetlana Nobody.
I know. Svetlana Tihana. She's the opposition leader, but she was not even able to get...
nobody.
Hold on. Let me just finish this. Hold on. Just 1 second. Okay, yeah. Svetlana Tikhanovskaya was part of this like united front opposition, but in fact, in the election, she was not able to even finish number 2. Go on.
Yeah.
Okay. Go on.
Yeah. And she's the wow. You know Juan Guaidó?
Yes, I know Juan Guaidó. Exactly. She's the Juan Guaidó of Belarus.
Well, she is the Belarusian Guaidó. The Belarusian Guaidó is this Svetlana nobody, okay? Is I mean, is the president, you know, Lithuania recognized her as a president. Do you know that? That she's, according to the Lithuanian you know, she's the only president of Belarus, according to the Lithuanian authorities. You understand me? Yes.
Less than 2% of the votes, FYI.
The grandson of Vytautas Landsbergis is the Minister of Foreign Affairs. He wants to be the president of Lithuania. This guy is a guy that is, you understand, no? He wants to be president, no?
So, okay, so we're talking about, are we talking about Gabrielis or his father? Just to make sure.
Who?
Okay, so Gabrielis is Landsbergis.
Gabrielis Landsbergis, yeah. Gabrielis Landsbergis is the son of Vytautas Landsbergis. Okay, it's called in Lithuania Landsbergiukas. Landsbergiukas means small Landsbergis or young Landsbergis, because he's the junior. Landsbergiukas is diminutive. Okay, so this guy Landsbergiukas, he's very offended when you say that this Landsbergiukas. He get offended, no? Because there is also good people in Lithuania, a member of the opposition. You understand me? And they are also working on Facebook, and they have also their own, how to say, in social media. They are very funny Lithuanians, member of the opposition. I mean. And well, I am learning from them. No, they send me information. Look what Landsbergiukas is doing. No, and you know, like, I am following Landsbergiukas because he's a very funny guy. I mean, he's all the time saying something crazy. This man is kind of idiot. I mean, like an idiot. It's a deluded moron. It's a deluded moron. I mean, Landsbergiukas is an idiot. No. His grandfather is sinister. Is the godfather of Lithuanian mafia. I mean,
okay, and then hold on. His father probably collaborated with Nazis, right? Okay, the Soviets accused him.
Yeah.
Okay,
they have a real interesting past of Nazi past, no? Yes. All this family, the Landsbergis family is very old family, no? Actually, it's funny because they are not even pure Lithuanians. They are Jews.
They are German. They're Baltic Germans, right? They're Baltic Germans.
Baltic Germans. Somebody say that they are more like a Jew, like a kind of Jew. I don't know. They are not really Lithuanians. No? But well, in Lithuania there are many Lithuanians. They are very. Oh, you know, I am very Lithuanian, very pure Lithuanian. And they are not Lithuanians. They are even Russian. They are like a funny guys, you know, like a Mamontov.
Their family is Baltic German, so make what you want to make of that.
Yeah. I mean, in Lithuania, the pure Lithuanians are not so Lithuanians. So they are some radical Lithuanians. So I mean, they are more cold, no, the pure Lithuanians. So. But usually the people that have like a Polish blood or Russian blood or Jew blood.
Yeah.
They want to show that they are more Lithuanians than the real Lithuanians. No? So, and they are more aggressive against everybody that don't share their point of view. No? The official point of view. No? The official version of the history, Lithuanian history. The Lithuanian history is different than the rest of in the world, because the Holocaust didn't exist in Lithuania. In Lithuania didn't exist the Holocaust. Existed double Holocaust, the double Holocaust. I mean, the Lithuanians were killed by the Nazis and the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Okay? This is the official version. This is the version of the history, Lithuanian history. No, the Holocaust was product of Russia and also Germans, and they are in the middle. They were not involved in the Holocaust. You understand? You know, this is the history of Lithuania.
That's a total lie. But
the official version say that, or the history say that the Second World War started because the Germans and Stalin signed this Molotov-Ribbentrop. No? And we had we have to blame mostly Russia for the Second World War. This is the version of Lithuania. I mean, everything is like this, no? If you are against that and you write something, you have problems. You have problems with the BSD. You start to be harassed by trolls, Lithuanian trolls, no? You start working for the government, okay? And later the media, Lithuanian media, how to say, start to, they're right about you. Information, there is no information, it's disinformation, it's just propaganda against you. No? They transform you in a criminal or in a clown. No? It happened, no? All the members of the opposition in Lithuania, people are thinking different. Some of them depicted, they are like the media say, oh, this guy is an idiot, or is a Russian agent, or, you know, I mean, they try to show, they try to, how to say, in English I forgot the word, but how to say, transform you in a clown, or in a dangerous person, no? In a dangerous person, in a criminal, no? Like Paleskis, no? Paleskis is not a criminal. This guy is an intellectual. He's a sorry for intellectual. This guy, he never, just simply, well, he has his own point of view about historical issues. You understand me? About history. And, well, his crime is that he said something real, something that happened, something that is probably true about Vytautas Landsbergis, no? The godfather of the Lithuanian mafia. No? Because I call this a mafia. It's an oligarchy system. We have to understand that in an oligarchy system, things are working in a different way than in a whatever democracy. You understand? Because it's the oligarchy that decides, is taking decisions about things. No? I mean, and then there is a powerful oligarchy in Lithuania that they are controlling the economy, politics, the academia as well. Academic world there, I mean, university there on the top, there people are basically working for them. I mean, there is no democracy in Lithuania. In the past, maybe some years, short, but right now is a oligarchic dictatorship, because it's de facto dictatorship without freedom, okay, without freedom of speech, without freedom of thought. Also with, I mean, this is the system. You will never see that in maybe in the mainstream media. You know why? Because Lithuania is a puppet of NATO. Okay, it's a puppet of. It's a puppet of the Pentagon. You know, for them it's good having this kind of things, this kind of clowns, because they are clowns, all of them, in Eastern Europe. No? They are barking like doggies. Wow, yes. Wow. Lukashenko, you are a criminal. Oh, Lukashenko, you are the.
Okay, hold on. So, who's in? Like, are there who owns these things in Lithuania? Like the assets. Like, is it owned by the family or foreign investors? What's going on there?
What do you think in Lithuania? Foreign investors.
Oh, okay. So it's basically a free for all for NATO to come and privatize everything, right?
Lithuania, I mean, is part of NATO, and the NATO have there a lot of. They have a base, a military base there, and well, how to say? I mean, Lithuania right now is like most of the East European countries are ready, for a war. I mean, if there is a war, if there is a war between Russia, and the West, the people are the operation, the people that are going to be killed are going to be those guys. I mean.
So the militia is like is basically the same purpose as before.
Yeah.
For irregular military. I'm listening.
I understand now.
Don't worry, I'm listening. I said so the families. Okay. So the oligarchs are preparing for like a war of aggression right now, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they are right now. They are trying to remove from power to Lukashenko to in Belarus. Okay?
Why?
And they are supporting. This is one of the goals now is removing from power to Lukashenko.
Why do they want him to? Why do they want to remove him from power?
Well, yeah, simply because you remove Lukashenko from power, they will take control on.
Belarus. So okay, I got it. So it's like a financial thing where they want to. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Not only financial, also military. No, I mean,
military and financial. Okay.
You take, Belarus have a real good relationship, some kind of some good relationship with Russia. No. It's a strategic partner, of Russia.
Oh, I see now. Okay. This makes sense. Okay. So basically they're just amping for war and they're just looking for any excuse to do it. How has the Lithuanian government, do you know if the Lithuanian government has been supporting the what was Rome? Do you know what Roman Protasevich was doing why was he flying to Lithuania? Do you know?
Well, look, in Lithuania there are many liberal Russians. So Lithuania is hosting. Well, look, and Lithuania is hosting even university, Belarusian university that it's basically all the opposition to Lukashenko are working there in this University of European University in Vilnius. It's a Belarusian university. Lithuania is supporting. Actually, if you analyze the history of Belarusian nationalism, it was created in Vilnius. People don't know that, no? But
in where? In Vilnius, Lithuania. Got it.
Nationalist in Vilnius in that time was not Lithuania. Was part of Poland. Yes. No. At that time was part of the Russian Empire. Okay. And then the first nationalism was born there in Vilnius. No. They're supporting this branch of nationalism that is quite. You analyze the history, you know that this flag that they are using, the flag with this.
It's the Belarusian SS flag. Yes, we have that. We have a video.
Yeah. It's the same. It's the Pagonia. The Pagonia is the same symbol of Lithuania. It's the same. It's the Belarus. Horse with a Nike. Belarus and Lithuania, they share the same symbol, the nationalist.
Exactly.
The symbol,
and we know it comes from literally the local collaborators of the Nazi SS in Belarus. And go ahead.
Yeah, both of them. Lithuanians and Belarusian nationalists, they were collaborators with Nazis or occupants. Okay. Yes, and they were quite cruel. No? They were. Don't think that those collaborating means killing people. Thousands of them. The 200,000 Jews, or more than 200,000 Jews were killed.
There was we'll put up the SS report, but it was more than that. In Lithuania, there was a report with the
more than that. Probably.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Right. And then it happened. It happened in Lithuania, and they don't want to admit that. No? And they are creating some strange history. It's like we are not. It's very difficult to say, but they create a history where they are victims. The Lithuanians are the real victims are the Lithuanians. The Jews are victims, but not so much. The real victims are Lithuanians.
Yes, of course.
And they created that. No, they invented. Of course, and they blame a bit the Germans, but especially the Russians. Okay, you have to blame especially Russians. The Germans. Okay, those Nazis were not so good.
Well, the Landsbergis family apparently is an old Baltic German family, and we found this record, so we'll put that up right now. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, like Rosenberg, Rosenberg, one of the theoreticians and minister of Hitler. He was from not Lithuanian, but from Estonia.
Oh, what's his name again?
Of course, there were many.
What's his name?
Arthur Rosenberg. You can write.
Okay, R-O-S-E-N-B-E-R-G?
It's a Nazi. A Nazi.
I just want to spell it. R-O-S-E-N-B-E-R-G, right?
Rosenberg.
Okay, I got it. I found him.
Rosenberg, Arthur. This guy was from Estonia. Many. It's very interesting. I read an article about that. How German Baltics, had a lot of influence on anti-Semitic policies. on Hitler, because at the beginning, they were not so anti-Semitic, no? Anti-Jews, no? But the Baltic Germans, I mean, people coming from Estonia, from Latvia, some of them from Lithuania, but they had influence on the Nazi ideology. I mean, because at the beginning of the movement, they were not so anti-Semitic, in the Nazi party. The influence of those guys coming from those territories, that were somehow historically they were like a colonies of the German Empire, because the Germans expanded towards the east.
Yes.
I mean, you have to analyze the history, I mean, the colonial powers in Western Europe were France, Spain, Portugal, also Britain, so the English, and they were conquering, like America, Africa, and so on. And the Germans, they didn't have this chance, They expanded towards this. And they consider that all the Baltic region is German, and you have a lot of small towns, village in Estonia, in Latvia, in Belarus, even also in Poland, they were the Germans there. I mean, because they belonged to the former Teutonic Knights.
Was it the aristocracy?
Teutonic Knights.
Oh, okay, knights. Okay.
Yeah, and they were the aristocracy. People that were owners of lands, and the Serbs were people from the locals, local people.
So it was like, I see now. Okay, go ahead.
You understand me, And they carried the system. It's coming from the medieval age. The medieval age, the Teutonic Knights conquered all this area, expanded, in all this region, and usually they are coming back all the time. You know the history of all the Baltic regions, and you see how those Germans, the tendency is to take all the area, They expanded in, for instance, right now, Kaliningrad, it was a former Königsberg. That former Königsberg was a colony, actually was colonized by Germans, Prussia. Well, when you are speaking about Prussia is a state that never didn't exist now. They don't exist. They disappeared, But it's Königsberg. Königsberg right now is Kaliningrad, Kant was born there. Immanuel Kant was born in
Immanuel Kant. I did not know that.
Right now it's Kaliningrad. Yeah, well, I want to tell you one thing. This area was at the beginning they were populated by Baltics, by Prussians, but the Baltic Prussians were some kind of it's a tribe that were cousins of Lithuanians. Really, they were like a cousins, a language quite similar, but they were colonized by Germans and destroyed because this language disappeared.
Interesting.
I mean, the Prussians, they were not Prussians anymore. They were you can imagine the colonizer are coming to your territory. They took your land, take out of your culture and your language. You are working for them, and at the end, the real Prussian disappeared as a nation, yes, and the Germans created a state, the Prussian state. Later, the Prussian state was very popular, because we were quite good warriors, in the 19th century, and all the unification, German unification at the end of the 19th century was the leader was a Prussian, It was this guy, what's called very famous, one of the Prussians. So let's say that the Germans always have expanded. They consider all this region of part of. It's like a German. They belong to Germany, and they came back. They already came back. So how? And they have some. Well, usually those countries are on the top are oligarchy. It's an oligarchic system, with 4 or 5 families that they have control the
Oh, I see. And then they lost their lands after the Russian Revolution, so they wanted it back because they lost their lands after the Russian Revolution.
Yeah. They want the land back, and so on, and this is very interesting, all this history. I don't know. You want to tell me something? I mean, you should try to contact. Well, I think you told me already there.
Thomas is coming in about 5 or 10 minutes, so go ahead. Stanislav Tomas, he's coming. He's coming in 5 minutes. Say hello
from me,
Yeah. So, can we just hold on? But before you go,
it's an amazing character, I have to say. He's a polyglot. This guy even speaks Catalan.
He speaks Catalan?
Even Spanish, Catalan.
Wow.
Yeah. I speak with him in
That's
Catalan.
Amazing.
He was living in Andorra. Catalan language. He was living here in Andorra, and we are, well, it's an amazing character. This guy was involved in politics even he was quite on the top of, but the guy is, he studied in La Sorbonne in France, and he's a lawyer and so a teacher. He had a lot of problems in Lithuania.
Was he a student of yours? Did you meet him in Lithuania?
Yeah. I know him personally. In Lithuania, of course, he was drinking some beers even.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hold on. Okay, we didn't quite finish the story about how you got we need to just finish this part where you said that you were blacklisted in Lithuania, so can we just quickly talk about how you were jailed and deported too?
Well, I was in Kaunas, and then, well, I didn't know that I was in a blacklist, but the thing is, I was in the middle of the street looking for my lunch, my dinner. I went to a supermarket, and the police just simply came and they took me. They asked me for the document, for my passport. They showed that I was me, me. And I was just simply, they took me and to a, not exactly a jail, but kind of jail for illegal foreigners. I mean, I was in an illegal way. I was not legally in Lithuania. It's very strange because I am from the European Union and I have a right to be in Lithuania. Okay. I have a right. I have the right to be in Lithuania because but that's it. I have been the first deported Spanish in the history of Lithuania.
Wow.
The first one. And the funny thing is that I have been teaching in Lithuania 10 years with thousands of students, Lithuanian students. Okay. This is curious, no? And then I cannot come back to Lithuania till in 2 years. I will be able to come back.
Wow.
2 years. Okay. I have been banned for going to Lithuania till 2023.
Wow.
In 2000.
Okay. The reason why I wanted to talk about that is because you were seized and deported, and it's kind of like but somehow your case got very little press attention. So, that's good. But so then what is okay? So you also said that the person who replaced you at your university didn't even have a basic Spanish degree, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so she was my student.
Wow.
Yeah. She was my student. I mean, they because they didn't have in that moment a Spanish teacher, so they took one of my students, and she was not even my best student. I have to say. I mean, she was not my best student because she had quite mediocre. Marks. No, like a 7 or something like this. Not really good, but that's it. They took my student as a teacher of Spanish. Well, not very professional thing. I want to say. The funny thing is even that I was this year awarded because this university has a kind of awards like at the Oscar for teachers. No.
Wow.
I usually was awarded by the students, by the claustro, but in a ceremony, they took the best teachers, the best educators, and usually I was awarded, like 3 years in a row, as the most as the funniest lecturer in Lithuania. Me. Okay. And this year, I was awarded with the Oscar. No? I give a speech in front of the rector, in front of the authorities, a speech for freedom of speech. And 5 days later, I was removed from my position. Amazing, eh? I got the Oscar in front of the rector of the university and the authorities. And they told me 5 days later that I cannot work anymore in this university, even if I was a good teacher, no? Because of course, sorry, but I have been awarded by the same university that was firing me. You understand? It's a contradiction, no? Yeah, just simply because the on the top, the government told them to do that. Okay, told them to remove me.
Oh, okay.
It's a political decision. No? You say you have to remove this guy because he's writing. He's a blogger. No? And he's writing things that are against our narrative on Ukraine. No? So that's it. I know that Stanislav Tomas is a very funny guy as well.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for coming with us. And hold on.
Yeah. Stanislav Tomas is.
Go ahead.
Say hello from me, okay?
We will. And thank you so much for coming.
And thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much for coming. And this is going to be very exciting. We're very excited. So I can't wait till we air this. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. We have a special guest today. His name is Stanislav Tomas, and he is a lawyer and a business researcher.
Yeah.
Okay. And well, this week we've heard a lot about free speech, but it seems to only work in one way. And with that, we're going to just show this video of what happened in 2012.
Stanislavas Tomas, aš esu profesorius, advokatas, ką tik sudaužiau su kūju. Fiktyviškai. A national hero in Lithuania.
So there's a building with a plaque. It's a plaque of a man, Jonas Norieka, and it looks like you are breaking it with a sledgehammer, right?
Yes, it looks like I'm doing that. Jonas Norieka was a Nazi warlord. So when Nazis occupied Eastern Europe and, they continued, to Moscow, a part of Lithuania was under his governance. So he was appointed to Northern Lithuania to be a governor of Northern Lithuania. And as a Nazi military commander, as a Nazi warlord, he murdered for about 14,500 Jews.
Wow.
Because they were Jews, And the contemporary Lithuania glorifies him as a person who fought against Russians. But wait,
I have a quick question. So is that why his plaque is, where is this plaque located?
It is on the wall of the building of the Lithuanian Academy of Sciences.
Wow.
In front of the old Jewish cemetery. So.
Oh my God, I did not know that. What city is this? So that we can show people a map of the, what city is this?
It's Vilnius, Lithuania.
Okay, got it. Okay, I found the Google map. Oh my God, yes, it is right in front of a Jewish cemetery. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. And another thing with the building of the Academy of Sciences is that there are no plaques for Lithuanian scientists in the building of Academy of Sciences. And the reason is that actually all the scientists of Lithuania were Jewish. So this is what something that developed absolutely naturally, because Jews were prohibited to work, to farm. They were prohibited by law to have a farm, to plant potatoes, etc. They were prohibited to work with cattle breeding. So this is why most of the Jewish people were employed either as scientists or as businessmen or as lawyers or doctors. This was the social situation of Lithuania, because that's how they survived. So the initial plan was to forbid Jews to plant potatoes so that it would harm them. But finally, this discrimination developed in something very positive for them. And at that moment, all the scientists in Lithuania were Jewish. Now, this is why the contemporary Lithuania has no plaque for a scientist in the beginning of the 20th century or 19th century. There are no plaques for Lithuanian scientists because all of them were Jewish.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then what happened? Okay, so wow, that's horrific. Yeah, Lithuania had one of the worst extermination campaigns. They did it by bullets, and it was just horrific. But wow, that's amazing that I did not realize that they put it right in front of a Jewish cemetery. My God.
Yeah.
So what made you take this brave act of tearing down the, by the way, we support tearing down all Nazi and Nazi collaborator statues. That's our official podcast position, right, Janet?
Thank you.
But so what inspired you to tear it down?
Well, actually, I'm a human rights lawyer, so I litigate against Lithuanian government for a decade. And I have many human rights cases. And I faced that situation when Lithuania basically ignores all the judgments of the European Court of Human Rights and all the judgments of the United Nations on human rights.
What did they say? What is the judgment that, and what happened? Okay, what was the judgment that they ignored? I guess, can you talk about one of them at least?
Oh, there are so many of them, like all of them. I was working on two quite important cases for Lithuania. It was the case of the impeached president of Lithuania, Rolandas Paksas. So there was a president, Rolandas Paksas of Lithuania, who was impeached. And then I won his case.
Why was he impeached?
He was impeached in 2004. And since 2004, then I won his case in 2010. And then for the first time, then I won it at the European Court of Human Rights. And then
but what was why did they impeach him?
Oh, it is look, in Russia, it is very easy. You have you have Boris Yeltsin, the first president of Russia. Yes. Then Boris Yeltsin appoints Putin as his successor. Then Putin once appoints Medvedev for one term and then takes back the office. So this is how it works in Russia, right?
Yes.
Everyone understands that this is appointment by the former president. In Lithuania, it works absolutely in the same manner. In Lithuania, the new president is always appointed by the former president. And then all the mass media, all the journalists present the appointee as the only possible solution for Lithuania, as the only savior. Yeah, so absolutely as in Russia. But once in 2003, the system didn't work as it was planned. So all the Lithuanian media, all the so-called intellectuals were campaigning for re-election of President Valdas Adamkus.
Okay.
And all the opinion polls, the opinion polls were showing that Adamkus will get 70%, 80% of votes. And no, the mechanism broke.
He got only 31% that year, right? In 2004?
Yes, and Rolandas Paksas was elected. And this was the break of the system. So what they did, immediately they started an impeachment, and he was impeached in 13 months.
Wow. Oh, okay. What was the reason? They said they were, okay. So I'm looking at a New York Times article, and they said that they impeached him for Rolandas Paksas. They've impeached him for 3 counts. So what were the 3 charges?
Well, the most important charge was that he awarded a Lithuanian citizenship to a Russian businessman for merits for Lithuania.
Wait. So the Russian businessman married a Lithuanian woman and he awarded, that sounds reasonable.
That sounds absolutely reasonable because the Russian businessman was living in Lithuania for 45 years. So
yeah. Even if he was married to a Lithuanian, it sounds completely reasonable. Okay, what was this? Wow. Okay, what was the second charge?
The second charge was look, it was influencing a company to transfer its shares to his friend. But then on the same account, the prosecutor started a criminal investigation, and the very prosecutor discontinued the investigation because there was no proof of that.
Wow.
So there was just, there was one telephone conversation where the president was talking to his friend, and his friend told him that I would like to purchase shares of a company. And the president told his friend, well, you should think something intelligent if you want to buy those shares. That's basically the entire conversation. So this conversation was taken as an abuse of public position to transfer shares from one company, from one shareholder to another shareholder.
Hold on. This sounds, I've done, Jenna, can you put up the link to the Brian Mayer interview? But this sounds a lot like Lava Jato with Brazil and the way they, identical, with the way they did it with Lula da Silva, the same exact thing. The first one was about some apartment that he didn't buy. And the second charge was literally the share for Petrobras that he didn't do. But okay, what was the third charge?
The third charge, let me think.
Here, let me just tell you what the third charge. Okay, we'll just say it because I have the new. Okay, now, what happened is so once the parliament. So how does impeachment in Lithuania work? Like, what does the parliament need to do, and how many votes do they need to impeach somebody?
They needed 66% of the votes, and they started immediately after his re-election because, the plan of the state-sponsored media was that he would never be elected. And by the way, when I won this case at the European Court of Human Rights and at the Human Rights Committee of the United Nations, the Russian government changed their presidential law.
Congratulations.
Yes, they have a Russian law on election. So they modified, they amended their legislation by putting an article that says that a president of Russia who was impeached does not have the right to appeal to the European Court of Human Rights or the United Nations. So this is an immediate reaction of the Russian system to the collapse of the Lithuanian system.
Oh, okay, hold on 1 second. Okay. So now, okay, people in America don't know anything about this, so we need to just back up a little bit. Okay, so the lawmakers voted to impeach Rolandas Paksas sometime in 2004.
Yes.
And did that mean that he was immediately removed from office? Did they have a new election? How did that work?
Yes, he was immediately removed from office, and then in 2 months there had to be new elections. And he registered as a candidate for new elections, and it was obvious that he would be re-elected. So after his registration as a candidate for fresh elections, the Lithuanian parliament amended once again the law, the legislative law, and stated that a person who was impeached does not have the right to be re-elected anymore, and eventually until the end of his life.
Oh, so it was a life ban.
Yes, and it was a life ban. That was a reaction to the fact that he became a candidate for the new elections, and it was obvious that he was going to be re-elected. So, you know, the system is absolutely monstrous, and it is a system that completely excludes any opposition, any, you know, hope.
Of course. Hold on 1 second. Okay.
Yes.
So then, okay, so what the parliament is called Seimas. How do you pronounce the name of the parliament?
Seimas.
How do you say it again?
Seimas.
Okay. So the Seimas then voted. So then so he was removed from the ballot, and then who won that election after Rolandas Paksas was removed?
Yeah, Valdas Adamkus, the old.
Okay, so the guy they wanted anyways.
Yes.
Okay.
So
then what happened? And so you appealed into 2004 to the European Court. How long did it take, and what did they say?
Oh, it took a lot. It was very long. It took us 6 years. And the European Court found that his lifelong disqualification from standing for elections to the Parliament of Lithuania was contrary to the European law. So since 2010, 2011, we struggled to force Lithuania for already 10 years. We struggled to force Lithuania to execute this judgment of the European Court of Human Rights, and Lithuania refuses. According to Lithuania, the judgments of the European Court of Human Rights and of the United Nations are binding for Russia, but not for Lithuania.
Okay, hold on. This sounds weird. Okay, so that's so weird. Okay, so first question: Lithuania is in the European Union, right?
Yes.
So it's binding for them. Russia's not. Never mind. Okay.
Yes, you're totally correct. This is absolutely strange, but Russia actually, they participate in the cooperation under the jurisdiction of the European Court of Human Rights.
I see. Okay.
And in general, Russians recognize their authority to make judgments on their internal cases, and they execute much more than Lithuania. So if you take little countries like Lithuania, actually, well, their official position is that the judgments of the European Court of Human Rights are much more binding for Russia than for the countries of the European Union.
Of course.
Well, unfortunately, when you talk about little countries like Lithuania, there is also, they do not simply have little population, like just 2.6 million people, but they also have less intellectual resources, so usually from the countries like Lithuania, it is quite normal to hear absolutely ridiculous arguments like that the European Court of Human Rights has binding judgments for Russia, but not for the European Union countries. So it is stupid. It is stupid.
Oh, okay. So now I'm looking at the judgment by the European Union that was put out in 2011, and they said it's a violation of Article 3 of Protocol 1 to the convention.
Yeah.
So what does that mean, please?
Yes, this article covers the right to stand for election to the Parliament of Lithuania. But then the European Court of Human Rights interpreted that that his right to be elected to the Parliament of Lithuania, to the Seimas, should be reestablished. But they refused to consider the question of his election to the office of President of Lithuania. This is why I had to lodge a new appeal to the United Nations. And the United Nations Human Rights Committee in 2014, they issued their conclusion. And in that conclusion, they say that his right to be elected to the office of the President of Lithuania should be reestablished retrospectively from 2004.
Well, what does retrospectively mean? How does it work?
It means that actually from 2004 until now, his right to be elected to the office of the President of Lithuania is breached. So should recognize all the entire period of 20 years as a breach of the electoral law. And Lithuania, until now, they refuse to execute it.
Okay, so is his entire party banned, or is it he as a person banned?
He as a person is banned, and actually, as I understand, he has already decided to retire from activity. So, to play with grandchildren and to leave politics in general. But still, we have this issue. Like, once, because, his election in 2003 was a shock for elites in Lithuania.
Well, why was it a shock? Like, what was he doing that's different that the elites didn't like?
It actually nothing.
Then?
Simply, as in Russia, in Lithuania exists a system where the president is always re-elected, and then he appoints the new president. This is the informal law in Lithuania.
Oh, okay, got it. Oh, it's okay, got it. It's like a ceremony.
Yeah, it is an absolutely illegal ceremony. It is anti-democratic ceremony because, people have no right to elect a person who is different from the one proposed by the biggest media in Lithuania.
What is the biggest media, and is it private or public, and who owns it?
It is there are channels that are public and there are channels that are private, but we do not know the names of the owners of the private companies.
Why not?
Because they are registered in offshore jurisdictions.
Interesting.
They do not disclose the owners. So we have.
And there's no law forcing the companies to disclose their owners? No.
In Lithuania, there is no law. And it is absolutely impossible to know who is owning them. And this is the media that, they always project only one political party that should win elections, only one political candidate.
Is that the Homeland Union?
It is Homeland Union and the Freedom Party. So they are dominating the political life in Lithuania.
Okay, one quick question. What does the Homeland Party or the Freedom Union believe about the Holocaust? Sorry.
Oh, they think that they would say that they condemn Holocaust, but they would say that Neringa is not guilty because he was executing the orders of Germans.
But oh my God, I mean, we've dealt with this for 50 years that it is not an excuse. You can't say, wow, that's crazy.
Of course, and particularly when you are the governor of.
Oh, he was the governor of the entire state? Okay.
Yes, so you are the governor. You of course, you have liability, and it is your responsibility to control everything. And if you sign the orders, look, Neringa is the person who signed the order, the business plan for death camp. So, if you have a death camp during Holocaust, someone drafts the business plan.
I did not know that.
Yeah, This was the bureaucratic procedure. So before establishing a death camp, someone drafts a business plan where he explains the costs and the benefits and what the production, because those people in the death camp before the death, they were working, they were producing goods and services, and they were selling that. And so Neringa he signed the business plan for the Skaistgiris death camp. And
what's it called again?
Skaistgiris.
Okay, when we're done with the interview, can you please text me the name of it?
Yes. So he asked for 1,116,000 rubles to establish the death camp.
From the Germans. Wow. Okay.
No, from the Lithuanian government.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
Lithuania actually proclaimed independence. Well,
Got
the position of the government of Lithuania is that on the 22nd of June 1941, Lithuanians organized a revolt against the Soviet Union. They liberated the country against the Soviet Union.
Yes, I totally believe this. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but on the same day, Germany attacked the Soviet Union. So, and they present the Soviet Union, the Soviet army as running away from brave Lithuanians. But
they were Nazis. Sorry, right?
Yes, but they were running away, but they were attacked by the biggest army in the world. Like this was the biggest invasion, the greatest invasion in the human history. The
German invasion of the East.
Yes.
Okay. Well, it is to your west, but their east, but whatever.
Yes. Well, at that point, the Western Europe was already occupied by Hitler. So, but then they threw about 4 million soldiers, and never before anyone threw that much soldiers into a war.
Wow.
And on the same day, they proclaimed Lithuanian independence. So, obviously, I mean, they had no chances to liberate Lithuania without Germans. And then when Germans liberated Lithuania, they actually left Lithuanians like Neringa to govern Lithuania.
Ah, I see. Yeah. So it's like he was almost like a puppet state, almost.
Yes. It is. And then, now if you take the Homeland Union, the Homeland Party in Lithuania, its leader is Gabrielius Landsbergis. So Gabrielius Landsbergis is a great grandson of the Minister of Infrastructure in the Nazi government of 1941.
Interesting. We didn't know about this part. We just realized that his family was Baltic German, but that's very interesting. So now he was the grandson of the first president. No, he was the grandfather of the first president of Lithuania.
Yes, he was the grandfather of the first president of Lithuania, and he is the great grandfather of the current leader of the Homeland Union, who is a minister of foreign affairs.
So Landsberger's grandfather was the minister of infrastructure, and then the first president was how do you put Landsbergis? What's his first name? It starts with a V, and I can't pronounce it, and I'm afraid I'm going to butcher it.
Vytautas.
Oh, Vitalis. Okay, that's easy. Okay. So Vitalis Landsberger was the first president, and now it's Gabrielius Landsbergis, who is the defense minister of Lithuania, right?
Foreign affairs minister.
Foreign affairs. Sorry, not defense. I'm so sorry. Foreign affairs minister. And what? Go ahead. Miguel said that this family controls a lot of the Lithuanian government.
Yes, actually, they have appointed their puppet. The current president of Lithuania, Gitanas Nausėda, is actually their puppet because, he was basically appointed as any president of Lithuania. They are always appointed by, a group of people that control the media and the financial resources. And then if you take a look at the, Minister of Infrastructure. When you say Minister of Infrastructure, it sounds, like neutral. But you should also note that in 1941, the Ministry of Infrastructure was governing the public institution under the name Jewish concentration camp.
Oh my, wow.
So, Jewish concentration camp, this is the concentration camp where about 50 or 60,000 Jews were murdered. And he also voted as Vytautas Landsbergis, the Minister of Infrastructure, voted to appoint Noreika as the governor of northern Lithuania.
I see.
He, was.
So now, wow, this is very disturbing. This makes a lot of sense now, and so it seems like somebody said that it seems like they're basically putting glorifying Norieka, like there's a primary school named after him. There's something, right?
Yes, there is a school that is named after him. There are streets, there are plaques in other buildings. There are rooms in the universities, halls in universities that are named after Landsbergis and other Holocaust criminals. So unfortunately, this is something, absolutely normal for Lithuania, for contemporary Lithuania, despite the fact that they are in the European Union. And it is always...
Because of sorry.
It was always my preoccupation. Why does the European Union criticize Russia that much and does not look at itself, at its member states? The European Union is much more concerned about the human rights situation in Africa, in Malaysia, in Thailand, in all those countries. But, first of all, you should look at yourself, and this is increasing. So we see that the glorification of Nazis is becoming stronger and stronger in Lithuania.
So you said you filed other human rights case. So what was the case that led you to smash this plaque down?
Well, look, actually, I have 90% of all the cases won against Lithuania at the European Court of Human Rights or at the United Nations are my cases. So,
amazing. That's a very good record. That's amazing.
And obviously, I saw that it was an existential actually question because, I have a lot of won cases, but none of them is executed. So you take a judgment from an international court.
So wait. So the international court said that they need to remove the plaque?
No, I have many other cases, like, dealing with different, like Paksas, like the secret CIA prison in Lithuania.
Okay, can you tell us about the secret CIA prison?
Well, yes, obviously, it is related to the case of Paksas. So Paksas records a conversation with the Director General of the Lithuanian State Security Department.
Wow.
And the director of the State Security Department asked him whether they could establish a secret prison. So Paksas answered that he was crazy because a secret prison is a crazy project.
He was right. I mean, it's probably illegal against almost any law. They can't, right?
It's illegal under any law because, what is a secret prison? You just take a person who is not convicted of anything, who does not has a suspicion, and you torture them in a prison, and you keep them without food, without sleep, you beat them, and you mistreat them in all possible manners. There was a sound torture when there were,
who was tortured in these prisons?
There were about 30 persons in that prison.
Wow.
We know the name of 3 prisoners, and none of them is convicted until now, we have no judgment.
So it's been almost like 15 years?
Yes. So look, they removed Paksas from the office of president. They re-elected Valdas Adamkus, the same person that was planned. And then Adamkus authorized the secret prison. And then, they were torturing Arabs over there.
Wow, they were doing renditions. I didn't. Okay, now I understand. So there is a okay, I see this case. Okay, yes. Yeah. Oh, wow, that's terrible. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and we have evidence from Americans who were working with that secret prison. So the explanation of Americans was that it would be absolutely illegal to establish the secret prison in America.
So they needed another state to make it legal for them.
Yes, well, their position is that they do not care about Lithuania. They do not know what are the laws in Lithuania. And if Lithuanians say that it is possible under their legislation, they just pay the money.
Interesting.
And, Lithuanians go ahead. So, yes, this is a moral question because, for Americans, they say that it's not us, it's not America. It's another country. Yes, we didn't like those Arabs, but then if those Arabs were terrorists, why don't we have a judgment of a normal American court on their guilt?
It should be easy for them to just drop in the evidence, right?
Yes, so there is not enough evidence for CIA to convict those persons.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, wow, that's, but so then, oh my, that's very okay. So this is a CIA torture site in Lithuania, and wow, so then you ended up suing them in the European courts, and then they said that each family had to be paid, I don't know, like about $200,000. Is that correct?
The European Court of Human Rights decided that they had to be paid about $200,000. I was making this case not before the European Court of Human Rights, but before the United Nations. And the United Nations made a judgment, made a conclusion that Lithuania should establish the names of all those 30 persons because we have names, and then Lithuania should prosecute those Lithuanians who authorized that prison and who were actually managing, those Lithuanians who got millions of dollars from Americans.
Oh, wait. How did they get? So basically, America went to Lithuania and said, hey, it will pay you X amount of money to do whatever you want if you build this prison. And there was no like checkup on who got the money. So basically those in power just kind of pocketed it themselves.
Yes. It is an absolute case of corruption because look, the Americans provided about $100 million for that prison. So
that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. And for Americans, they wanted those people to be kept somewhere, in a prison, but they do not say that this should be a secret prison. They do not, they throw away all responsibility from themselves because they say this is Lithuania.
Wow.
We do not really care
okay, so it's like plausible denial. It's like, I don't know anything, like kind of like what people, I exactly understand what you're saying. Plausible deniability.
Yes. So Lithuanians brought those people in boxes into the secret prison. Oh, they were kept in boxes. They were.
Oh my God.
In cells. And in boxes in darkness, they were tortured with sound. They were denied sleep. They were beaten. They were not given food.
One quick question. One of the cases you took, his name is Abu Zubaydah, and it looks like he has an eye missing. Do we know why?
Yes, he has an eye missing, and this is also a problem because Americans, obviously, they would say that that's not us. Yes, he lost his eye, but perhaps Lithuanians. And Lithuanians would say, oh no, these were Americans. So you cannot actually establish who had done this.
Okay, but what we do know is he doesn't have an eye. Wow, that's terrible.
He does not have an eye. He was in a Lithuanian secret prison, but Lithuania does not execute anything. And then actually the United Nations required Lithuania to accuse its president Valdas Adamkus for authorizing this prison and for obviously getting the money, because this money was, this $100 million was not accounted in the Lithuanian state budget.
Interesting. So we don't know where it went or who it got the bank windfall.
Yes, obviously we know that it could not happen without the president Valdas Adamkus, because President Rolandas Paksas says that there were talks for his authorization for this.
And he refused to authorize this.
Yes, he refused to authorize, and he was impeached in 13 months.
That's very convenient in that case, if I were a conspirator. Wow. And so Valdas Adamkus, by the way, his full name is, okay, never mind. It's Adamvikus or Adamikus? Adamkus. Adamkus. Okay, got it. Valdas Adamkus was then, okay, he was the president between 2004 and 2009. And then how did he, why is he, like, did he step down? Did he lose? Or what happened with that?
Oh, no. Then he just appointed the new president, Dalia Grybauskaitė. And Dalia Grybauskaitė appointed Gitanas Nausėda in the same manner as in Russia, Boris Yeltsin appointed.
Okay, so Dalia Gibras was from 2009 for about almost a decade, right?
Yes.
And okay, so now and Gitanas Nausėda is like the new president, who's also an investment banker, and he's been there for about a year now. So do all the presidents have the same exact policy?
Yes, they have absolutely the same policy, the Holocaust denial. I have addressed Gitanas Nausėda asking him to take away the night cross of Jonas Noreika, because Jonas Noreika.
What is a night cross?
Night cross is a decoration that is given by the state in order to underline your contribution to the society.
Oh, Lord. Okay, so that sounds like a very reasonable thing, because he committed massacres. So it sounds like a very, okay, so what did they say?
Yes, so Gitanas Nausėda refused to take away his night cross. And I have gotten the letter of, from the office of Nausėda. So the office explains that this is a discussion for historians, and the president is not a historian. So
what? That doesn't even make sense, because it's, never mind. So it's basically sounds like an excuse that they just, so what do they, like, what are they gaining from it? Is it like, why are they doing this? Because that's the one thing I'm having trouble understanding. It seems like they could just make up a new hero, right?
Yes. Obviously, it is so easy to create a hero, But partially I understand the Lithuanian culture, because as I told you, in the 19th century and in the beginning of the 20th century, all the scientists in Lithuania were Jewish. So, and ethnic Lithuanians, most of the time they were farmers. Usually they were poor farmers, and they were accusing Jews of, keeping them in poverty.
Kind of like basically what has happening with immigrants in Europe right now, basically.
Yes, but look, from my perspective, it would be just easier to say that all those Jews, they were also Lithuanians, because they were living in Lithuania for centuries, entire centuries, and just treat them as Lithuanians. But this is also a reason why they cannot put any plaque, any monument, any portrait of a Lithuanian scientist in the Academy of Sciences, because all those scientists were Jewish. So, and they are searching for someone who would, personify their ethnic identity. So someone who would speak at home only Lithuanian, who would have, all the parents and grandparents who were ethnic Lithuanians.
So that would not be the Landbergis family, but whatever.
Well, they are actually Lithuanian. The surname sounds a little bit German, but they claim to be, pure Lithuanians.
Oh, okay. So it's like they're trying to find the pure. Okay. So are they trying to, who are they appealing to right now? That's what I don't understand.
Oh, they are appealing ethnic Lithuanians. Like, they are present, like, I understand this history because, for centuries, all the intellectuals were Jewish, like they were bankers, they were scientists.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, there were Polish people who were like nobility in Lithuania. And
okay. I see. So it was like lots of different cultures were coming in and conquering Lithuania.
Not conquering. Actually, there was no conflict. There was a great duchy of Lithuania.
Uh-huh.
The country that existed for 500 years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 500 years. So during those 500 years, all the books in the Grand Duchy of Lithuania were published in Russian.
Oh, okay.
So during those 500 years, there was not even a single book published in the Lithuanian language. But, well, I understand this was perhaps a problem of those centuries. That's how society was functioning. Yes, perhaps there were mistakes. Perhaps there is a guilt of some people from those ages.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that actually Lithuanians have had absolutely the same rights as Jews in the beginning of the 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
They could do whatever they wanted. They could become scientists. They could open a bank, and they were opening banks, actually.
Mm-hmm.
There were wealthy Lithuanians. But this is, a kind of a historic hatred against all those not pure Lithuanians, those people whom they do not consider as, having the right to live in Lithuania. This is ethnic hatred, actually. And this is not a good thing because, in a contemporary world, you should accept anyone. Like, there is enough land for everyone. Actually.
Exactly.
So, yes. And for them, the attack of Adolf Hitler against the Soviet Union is very important because, as I told you, for centuries, they were not publishing books in the Lithuanian language. They didn't have scientists. They didn't have bankers. And Adolf Hitler gave them a hope of creating an ethnically pure state where all the books would be just in the Lithuanian language, and the Lithuanians would occupy all the positions in the society. So this was the hope given by Adolf Hitler, and the contemporary Lithuania was designed from the very beginning to fit that ideal of Adolf Hitler.
That's very uncomfortable. So then, okay, so we kind of want to quickly talk about what happened to you. You got arrested, and like can you talk about what happened after you broke the plaque and what legal proceedings happened against you?
Yes, after smashing the plaque, I called the police myself. Because, I'm not considering myself as a criminal. I think that it was a wonderful thing that I have done. So I called police. I was a little bit tortured in the cell of the police car because they closed the air. So actually, I was without air actually. So
Wow.
this was torture because during the transportation they just switched off the air in the cell, and the cell is absolutely hermetic. There is no possibility of air from the outside to enter the cell.
Wow.
I was beaten a little bit. Then I spent in the cell for 56 hours instead of 48.
Wow. You were all by yourself. Like you were basically, so you were not allowed to sleep or eat or anything like that.
Oh, well, I explained them that, I am slightly Jewish and I prefer to have a kosher food. So they brought me pork.
Oh, wow. That's horrible.
This was intentional. This was intentional. So I refused to eat. And, actually, so I spent 56 hours without food because, they were bringing me pork.
My God, that's terrible. Wow.
Yeah, and then I was released pending trial, and during that release I escaped. So right now I am in the EU-wide police search.
Wow.
So
did they have the trial, or is there no trial yet?
Yes, there was a trial. I have gotten 3 months of prison, like actual prison, because the general practice in Lithuania is if you break a car or if you break a window or whatever, this is not considered as a real crime. Actually,
it's a misdemeanor, right?
Yes, usually people do not get prison at all. If you are angry and if you go and destroy the car of your neighbor, you will not get a prison for that. This is the general practice. Or even if you go and destroy a car of police, you will not get a prison sentence in Lithuania because it's a misdemeanor. You get a fine. You get sometimes they dispose that you should be at home at 6 p.m. and you may not leave your home before 6 a.m. in the morning. So something like that.
Like probation.
So, yes. So my case was different because immediately the president of Lithuania, that stupid Nausėda, Landsbergis, the great grandson of the Nazi minister, made a statement about me. The prime minister.
Wow, that seems over the top for what you did.
Yeah, actually, yes. So the prime minister required to punish me as hard as possible. And this is why basically I got a real prison sentence. Another thing is that in Lithuania, when they apply prison sentences, usually they say whether the person was judged before, whether he was convicted at any moment in the past. So I have never been convicted. So this also, there is an article that says if a person has never been convicted before, he is not convicted if he is recognized guilty for the first time in his life. So this is the first time in my life. And they immediately applied 3 months of prison. Yes, another thing is that the prosecutor did not ask to imprison me.
Wow, so the judge did it on his own.
Yes. So the prosecutor asked to apply me a fine. And the judge decided that the fine is not enough. And the judge actually, and I have passed all the courts, 4 courts, like the court of first instance, the appeal, the Supreme Court, and then the Constitutional Court. And all the 4 courts decided that it is very good to keep me 3 months in prison.
Oh my God. That's terrible. And so one thing that I do want to comment about is how they so Lithuania and Belarus share a border. They're right next to each other. And this week, what's his name? Roman Pratasevich?
Yeah.
Pratasevich? I don't know. Yeah, like the Western press, at least in the American press, they're writing articles after article about how like there's no free speech in Belarus, but it seems like Lithuania has a very similar problem, but you're just you don't support Nazis. So and there's no attention to people like you in the Western media. So like, what do you suggest? How do you if you have to give advice to Americans about like what's wrong with their media, or like how do you have any comments about that?
Yeah, of course. It is very bad that, look, Lithuania is a country that agreed to take the American secret prison. So obviously America needs countries like that, but I don't think that the American society needs secret prisons.
Of course not. We do not need that at all. Never.
If you can prove that Abu Zubaydah was a criminal, yes, then okay, then yes.
But still, no one has a right to take out people's eyes.
Yes, put him in a prison in New York, for instance.
Exactly.
Yes. So, Lithuania serves America with this illegal things like keeping, illegal prisons. And this is why, for the American government, whatever Lithuania does against free speech, against free elections is tolerable.
Against free press, I guess.
Yes, and this is very bad. Actually, I think that the situation in Lithuania is much worse than in Belarus. There are much more political prisoners in Lithuania. And then in Lithuania, look, I am currently #1 according to the number of won cases against Lithuania.
Wow.
Human rights cases. So I am the #1. Lithuania has already started 6 criminal proceedings against me, 6.
Wow. Wait, on top of that, they've started 6 more? That's amazing.
Yeah, they started 6 criminal investigations against me. Well, one of them is the thing of smashing the Nazi plaque, but 5 others, they are also related to my human rights activity, actually. It is the same as with Roman Protasevich, for instance. Protasevich told that he does not know how many criminal investigations were started against him. So I also do not know exactly. I know that there are 6, but actually, at any point you start defend human rights in Lithuania, Lithuanian government attacks you with criminal cases, with fake facts,
wow.
with the media. Like all the Lithuanian media claims that I have faked my PhD diploma.
Well, but you studied inside of Lithuania, so if you are able to fake it, it's their fault, right?
Yes, well, my PhD diploma is from Paris.
It's not Lithuania. Okay, never mind.
Yes, but the government of France, the Ministry of Higher Education of France, publishes on its website the list of all PhD holders. So my name is over there, but they still claim that my PhD is a fake. But that contradicts, basic Google search, actually.
Basic logic, even. Wow. So it sounds like all all like Lithuania is basically like targeting. Because I've heard about 2 members of parliament who've been. One, they've tried to put in a mental hospital. I forgot what he said, but somebody else got 5 years in prison without trial for basically, what did he say? Oh, he's allegedly denied the Soviet invasion in which never happened, but whatever, right?
Yes. This is a case of Grabauskas. He's my friend, and he's currently also in EU-wide police search. He was, there is a court order to order of coercive psychiatric examination. So because
what did he say that like what was his alleged crime that they needed to put him there?
He wrote many articles about Neringa and other Nazi criminals. So he was criticizing Holocaust. So criticizing Holocaust led to the court order, to put him into this coercive psychiatric examination. And this is more dangerous than prison sentence, because, you know, if you have a prison sentence, it means that, you know, like in my case, you should be free in 3 months. Psychiatric examination is indefinite. You know, they can treat you for years from diseases you don't have, or from the diseases they provoked themselves.
Wow. So it's almost like, oh my God. And then God knows what they can do if they've like gave you medicine that you're not supposed to have. Like, it can affect your brain, really.
Yes. They treat you with medicines that they decide you cannot control those medicines, and you're officially crazy. So everything, what you have written as a journalist is an example of schizophrenia, according to them.
Oh my.
So that's why Grabauskas ran away in the same manner as I did. We have also Giedrius Šarkanas.
What happened to him?
He wrote 2 articles about Holocaust. Okay. And his article is called Another Myth Destroyed. And he explains that the glorification of Lithuanian Nazis is a myth. So for that article, he has gotten 3 months of prison, and he is in prison right now.
Oh.
So contrary to me, he could not flee Lithuania because he has a mother, you know, who has a disability. So he, you know, he couldn't. Then, you know, yes, you mentioned Paleckis. Paleckis, that's also a very interesting case, because he actually, so look, in 1991, Lithuania proclaimed its independence already, but none recognized its independence. So there were riots. The Soviet Union sent, at that point, they didn't have special police units like nowadays. So they sent soldiers to calm the riots. Then 13 persons died in those riots. They were, so this is a dispute. You know, Lithuanians say that these were soldiers, or, you know, nowadays it would be called special police unit. But at that moment, they were military personnel. So Lithuanians say that those 13 persons were killed by the police, by the military. The position of, you know, the contrary position is that some of those people, among those 13 people, they died in a traffic accident, and they were brought to this location and put as if they died from a tank, but, you know, they died in an absolutely another location. So this is the position. We do not have enough facts, because, you know, each side tries, you know, to hide the facts. Then another thing is that among those military personnel, one soldier was killed from a rifle made in 1938. So, you know,
none of this makes sense.
Yes.
There's a lot of investigation that needs to be done for people to understand what happened.
Yes. So Paleckis was one of those people who was talking that, you know, first of all, we do not know, perhaps some people were brought from a traffic accident. Another thing was that we have evidence that someone was shooting from the rifle of 1938. So we need more investigation. We cannot say conclusively that all the 13 persons were killed by the military forces.
Well, that would make a lot of sense. I mean, everyone needs investigation before you say anything. And so it seems like a very normal thing is just asking for an investigation.
Yes. And he was like interviewing, you know, the military personnel. So the military personnel that was employed in that night, they all say that they had an order not to shoot into the people.
Oh, okay.
To keep them like, because, you know, There are riots. It is
Yeah.
normal, like police in any country does this, but they had the order not to shoot. So this is why he was kept in a prison for about 2 years. He's still not sentenced. Now he is released.
Is he convicted?
No.
So okay, so it's without conviction, he's in prison.
Yes, he was without conviction in the prison. We have the case, for instance, of Neringa Venckienė. Neringa Venckienė is a woman who had, niece, and the niece at the age of 4, she made statements at the age of 4 that she had sexual relationship with 4 men. And actually she accused the girl accused an assistant to the president of the parliament. So immediately Venckienė was imprisoned for supporting her niece in this dispute.
She sounds she's an aunt. She's supposed to support her niece, so it's very shocking. Wow.
That's the most logical. That's the most logical, actually, to support.
15 minutes, 20 minutes?
Maybe later.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
We're almost done. I'm sorry, but yeah, we did keep you a little over, and we apologize for that.
Yes. So I want to say that there are much more political cases, freedoms of speech cases. Like, in the Venckienė case with the, 4 years old girl, we have 17 persons who were murdered. So, and apparently at least part of those people were murdered by the State Security Department, the same State Security Department that was running the secret prison. We have also many people who were convinced for believing the girl. We have journalists who were convinced for believing the girl, what she says. At the age of 4, the girl is speaking actually, and she understands a lot. Like, it is a conscious. She's fully aware of what is happening.
At least in a lot of EU countries, if a child comes with a sexual abuse allegation, police have to do like examinations and lab tests and like investigations. Is there a law like that in Lithuania or no?
Yes, and apparently, so the girl accused 3 or 4 persons of having sex with her at the age of 4, and until the age of 8 years, she lived with her aunt. And then at the age of 8, she was transferred by the government to the mother whom she was accusing of selling her to prostitution. So the girl was accusing her mother of selling her to prostitution, and the government, when the girl was 8, the court decided to transfer the girl to the mother. And then immediately after the transfer, the girl made a statement that she did not have any sexual relationship, and the case was closed.
Interesting. That sounds very suspicious to me and very scary.
Yeah, absolutely. And then after she made a statement that there was no sexual relationship, the case was closed. Her aunt was imprisoned. Her grandmother was also convicted. For believing her. But then the girl disappeared.
We don't know what happened to her?
Yes, so that's the end. So her last statement was that there was no sexual relationship, and then after that, no one knows where she is. So currently the girl. Frightening. Yeah, right now the girl should be 17 years old. So at 17, you use telephone, internet,
text, something,
Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
And it would be logical for her at the age of 17 to be in contact with her relatives.
Yes, absolutely.
Or, childhood friends, because, when you are 8 years old, you have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
you go to school, you have friends. So she would contact them, I think. And she was also, she accused two officers of the state security department of having sex with her.
Oh my.
So, this is why, I am convinced that the state security department was, as an institution, interested to eliminate her somehow.
Wow.
And this is strange. This is happening in the European Union.
And this is much more scandalous than making some journalist who was working for the Azov to land an airplane. Like, this feels like way more scandalous, and it's not getting any attention because they serve the interests of the European Union.
Yes. So I was also assisting the family of the girl who is a victim of pedophilia in their proceedings at the United Nations, and then
what did the United Nations say?
Well, it is pending.
It's still pending.
Yes. Well, unfortunately, those proceedings are quite long. If you take the Paksas case, it took 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, it is very long, unfortunately, but it is the only hope for Lithuanians, because in Lithuania, to find justice in Lithuania, it's beyond myth. It is hardly possible. So yeah, this is a problem, and I would like American journalists and in general European journalists to focus on what is happening in the European Union, first of all, and then think about Belarus, think about Russia. I do not say that I do not idealize Russia or Belarus. Of course, there are many problems, but there are much more problems inside of the European Union and inside of the best American allies that are ready to breach the law to establish secret prison for America. But this is something that should not happen with the closest friends of the United States.
I agree. And thank you so much for coming to interview with us. And please do come back when we have more developments of the case in the United Nations or anything else. And it was been a pleasure interviewing you. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Антисемитизмом называется распространение вражды к евреям. Когда проклятая царская монархия доживала свое последнее время, она старалась натравить темных рабочих и крестьян на евреев. Царская полиция в союзе с помещиками и капиталистами устраивала еврейские погромы. Ненависть измученных нуждой рабочих и крестьян помещики и капиталисты старались направить на евреев.
Now. You're live.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. I hope this was a very useful episode. I know it's a little bit out of the ordinary because we had some special guests, and we kind of didn't want, we kind of had some special guests. So, but next week we'll be back with our regularly scheduled programming. And so I guess what I kind of wanted to say is that, well, just don't believe things that have been pumped up in them. Oh, not believe it, but thank you for the audio, Fufu. Just don't believe things. Oh, by the way, Fufu, yes, I was typing in English with the Russian keyboard on, and so yes, all you got is gibberish because I probably want to say "be right back" or something in English, but I had the wrong keyboard setting, so it was all gibberish. And Neil Sanger says the parallels between the U.S. secret police and the Lithuanian ones are very direct. And yes, it is. And the really scary thing is that the U.S. government has these like weird agreements for police training. And so you'll see that a lot of them have this like weird corporation that trains them. And actually there's a Chapo episode about this where this like psychotic person really, there's a Chapo episode about it, but basically these police, just listen to that about this like total psycho guy who trains police officers who like tells them to like shoot dolls or something. Like it's totally psycho. I can't even remember his name off the top of my head, but just Google psycho police trainer and Chapo Trap House, and it'll like show you the whole episode. It's like creepy. So my guess is that. But the thing about it is that, yeah, one thing that I'm still so perplexed about is like, how come? I guess most ordinary people may have made the connection in 1992 or even like in the past 40, 30, 40, 20, whatever number of years since then. But it seems like the media obviously doesn't want to see, but yeah, it's like everything here is so obvious that it's like fashy and created, but no one wants to like investigate, and I guess no one cares enough to investigate, but whatever. Yeah, and I hear that the rest of the Baltics, Latvia and Estonia, are just as bad. So I did a little bit research on Estonia, and they are totally doing lots of statues for totally fashy people, as they are, and whitewashing all the crap that they did and all the history. So yeah, it is very, yeah. Rebecca said very interesting and disturbing, and thank you, Rebecca, for always watching us. We really appreciate it. And one last thing is that for next week, I want to. Lenin did mention, like, there is a Lenin piece about the Baltics, but he just called them all in different names, and I can't remember what the other names were. But we're gonna read that along with for somebody else, I said we'd read the one about the democratic confederalism, and I'd like to, I don't know, I'd like to figure out ways to make it more engaging so that people automatically feel like, people who, Jean said we need to clone people like Aaron Mate to have enough investigative journalism. It's not quite a person problem, it's a funding problem, because it costs a lot of money to do investigative journalism. You need to like take a trip, blah blah blah, and you have to kind of go learn foreign languages, interview people. It takes a lot of resources, and often if we can understand the young bleeps, we know what the young bleeps, if you guys understand what I'm saying, for example, raised money about 4 years ago, like from ordinary people. They raised $20 at a time saying, oh, we're going to hire like 8 more investigative journalists. And they didn't. And God knows what they did with the money. And then a year later, they fired all their investigative journalists. So this is the catch-22, is that if a media outlet gets good enough and enough funding, they will want to conform to the hegemony and fire all their investigative journalists. And the ones that really want to do investigative journalism often just don't have money. And we don't have quite an iskra that Lenin started to do investigative journalism everywhere. So we need, I think we all need to get together and do a group effort of like investigative journalism somehow with like a central website. But I have ADHD and I can't plan that. So somebody else has to do it, and I can contribute to it, or a group of people or something like that. But yeah. Neil Sanger said they bought mansions and sold the F out. Well, they already had bought. I don't know if it's a sellout or like reclaiming their roots, because the main character of the young bleeps, was a pretty right-wing person. He's written many articles denying the entire Armenian genocide with the usual like, oh, a lot of people died, but I don't know if you can call it genocide. And it's like, yeah, it's genocide, dude. He's like finding his like roots, and it's like, I was very disappointed. Jenna, is there any way we could play my tweet to Anna?
Every time I try to share a screen, if I don't have it up already.
No, don't share screen. Go, like, if I give you the URL, can you like add new browser source?
I can, but I think it's going to disrupt the video if you need.
Oh, never mind. Okay, we'll do that next. Like, we'll put it up next week. But like Anna Kasparian. No, Kasparian. I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Kasparian. Yeah.
Kasparian?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Anna Kasparian attacked Aaron Mate for no good reason. She said that he was paid by Assad and Russia at the same time. I'm like, wait, don't like. I thought Assad and Russia had a deal where they only paid each journalist once, but and then what I was shocked was that I saw her at the the non-NATO affiliated independent security quote unquote conference, and she was like basically praising the president of Estonia, even though she was like a far right nut job. And so what it shows me is that she has no curiosity and she just conforms to a State Department line. Does she know it? Does she not know it? Does she do it on purpose? I don't know. And I don't think it matters. It's just that she went to a conference in another country and saw all these presidents and all these like important people. Yes, the Munich, I know it, I call it the NATO conference because it's the NATO conference. So like if there were like all these presidents and prime ministers like inside the conference, I wouldn't try to know everything about what their party believes in, what are their plans. Like I would have asked those questions and she did not. And I'm like, it looked like and then the Madeleine Albright one was the worst. Oh wait, actually there's an even worse. I believe she also like interviewed Francis Fukuyama, and I didn't watch it, but it looks pretty cringe. So yeah, and she didn't ask Madeleine Albright a single tough question. She was like a fawning Cinco something. And then she smears Aaron Mate for no good reason, and that was so not worth it. Neil Sanger once again said NATO is wearing a false mustache at the conference, and I'm just gonna say, let's not go there. But yeah, and so it seems like whenever somebody, so it seems like there's a lot of things that they just conform to the hegemony without actually knowing or caring. And even Rachel Maddow, like I was like looking at her Belarus clip, and within the first 30 seconds, I found 10 errors that were like easily Googleable. Like what year did Lukashenko first become president? Think Sycophant. Okay, thank you, Neil, for teaching me how to pronounce things. Sycophant. Sycophant. Okay, got it. Sycophant. Okay, thank you. So I forgot. Oh yeah, and these are not even like things that are matter to the NatSec people. In fact, they'd want you to get these things right. Like, what year did Lukashenko become president? She got that wrong. Like those basic things. And so, yeah. So the only reason they're there is because people who don't trust them are too isolated and are not connected with each other. Wait, I think somebody Fufu said, I think Rachel, okay, send me the clip, and if she did do that, we will address that next week. And this week we had at Historically Pod, we have a really cool episode about how suburbs are counter-revolutionary with Jeff, not that, Epstein. And then we're going to later learn about the real cause of the Civil War with Sam Hasselby. Let's see. Okay. And hopefully we'll have some articles coming out. I'm almost done editing the video with Debunker with Emma somebody needs to teach me how to pronounce her name because I'm worried that the way I've been pronouncing it in my head is wrong. But Emma from TYT's really bad video about socialism where she doesn't ever mention Marx, Lenin maybe, and she does mention this guy from yeah. Okay, Rebecca said okay, one last comment. So apparently, okay, so if somebody said that Rachel Maddow argued for bringing back the draft, so let's send me that, and if that's true, we will cover that. And if there's nothing else, we'll have a rest of the week and join us again next Sunday. And please share this with your friends, family, enemies, everything else. And also give us ideas on how to make it so that we get more clickbait revenue. And with that, I say bye-bye. Oh, also follow us on TikTok.